This is Elon, and he's got a dream. Not a normal dream, like owning a nice house or retiring early. No, Elon wants to die on Mars. Just not on impact, he clarified once. Which is oddly specific, but okay. He's standing on stage at a SpaceX event, laser pointer in hand, showing slides of rocket ships and Mars cities. The investors shift in their seats. The space nerds in the back are losing their minds. And everyone else is thinking the same thing. Why would anyone spend trillions of dollars to live on a frozen red rock? Here's the thing. Earth is our only house. And humans want a backup. Not because Earth is bad, but because putting all your eggs in one basket has never been a smart survival strategy. Especially when that basket is floating through space with no insurance policy. This is the Mars Project, explained like you're 5. But before we talk about interplanetary real estate, if you like what you see, this video is brought to you by our amazing team. And by a team, I mean me. Yeah, me. Sadly, these videos take a lot of time and effort to make, so consider subscribing to help me reach those monetization requirements. Thank you all, and back to the video. So let's rewind. Way before Elon was launching rockets and selling flamethrowers, before SpaceX was even a sketch on a napkin, the Mars dream was already alive. It's 1990. The Cold War just ended. Flannel shirts are everywhere. And 2 aerospace engineers named Robert Zubrin and David Baker sit down and ask a simple question. What if we could actually go to Mars? Not in some distant sci-fi future. Now, with technology that already exists, they draft a plan called Mars Direct. No billion-dollar space stations, no decades of waiting, just rockets, habitats, and a whole lot of math. In 1996, Zubrin publishes The Case for Mars, and suddenly, Mars colonization isn't just a pipe dream, it's a blueprint. By 1998, he founds the Mars Society. Engineers, scientists, dreamers. People who look at a dead planet 225 million kilometers away and say, yeah, we can fix that. This was all happening before Elon Musk cared about space. He was still selling PayPal, refreshing his bank account, and probably thinking about buying a really nice car. SpaceX doesn't show up until 2002. And even then, the first goal wasn't Mars. It was just not exploding on the launch pad. Low bar, but fair. So when Elon talks about Mars like it's his personal mission, remember, he's not the inventor. He's the guy who showed up late to the party with a massive checkbook and a reusable rocket. Which, to be fair, is exactly what the party needed. Now, what is Mars, actually? Mars is like a freezer with no oxygen. It's very far. About 225 million kilometers away on average, which is roughly 1,500 round trips to the moon. It's very cold. Temperatures average minus 60 degrees Celsius. At the poles, it hits minus 125. You know how cold your freezer is? Colder than that. Way colder. It's very dry. No liquid water on the surface. Just ice buried underground. And a lot of toxic dust. It's very dangerous. Cosmic radiation constantly bombards the surface because Mars has no magnetic field to protect it. And the gravity is weaker, just 38% of Earth's, which sounds fun until you realize your bones and muscles would slowly deteriorate. Oh, and there's no air you can breathe. The atmosphere is 95% carbon dioxide and so thin it's basically a vacuum. You can't just step outside and take a deep breath. You'd be dead in about 90 seconds. Maybe less if you're unlucky. Mars is a terrible place to live. But it's also the best terrible place we've got. Unlike the moon, which is just a dead rock with nothing, Mars has frozen water. It has an atmosphere, thin as it is. It has soil that could theoretically grow food if you treat it like a science experiment and pray a lot. It's not ideal, but it's possible. And in space exploration, possible is all you need. So who's actually trying to get there? Let's break it down. First, NASA, the big government space agency. They move slowly, but they move deliberately. Their goal is knowledge and science, understanding Mars, making sure we don't accidentally kill astronauts. They've been studying Mars for decades with rovers and satellites. Curiosity, Perseverance, those little robots rolling around taking selfies and soil samples. That's NASA. Then there's SpaceX, the company that changed everything. See, governments move slowly. Companies move fast. SpaceX's entire business model is built around one idea: Make rockets reusable. Because if you throw away a rocket after every launch, Mars colonization costs infinity dollars. But if you can land it, refuel it, and launch it again, suddenly the math starts working. Elon's betting everything on this. Starlink revenue, Tesla money, investor cash, all of it funneling into one goal: get to Mars before he's too old to care. And then there are other governments. China, the European Space Agency, Russia, sort of. They're all involved because space exploration means prestige, power, and technological leadership. No country wants to be left behind when humanity becomes multiplanetary. It's the new space race, except this time the finish line is an actual colony, not just a flag. That mix of government science, private speed, and international competition is what makes the Mars project financially possible. No single entity could afford it alone. But together? Maybe. So how do you even get to Mars? Great question. Buckle up. First, you build a rocket. Not just any rocket. A massive, fully reusable spacecraft that can carry 100 tons of cargo, survive the vacuum of space, and land on Mars without exploding. That's what SpaceX's Starship is designed to do. It stands 120 meters tall, taller than the Statue of Liberty. It's essentially a flying skyscraper. Second, you launch at the right time. Earth and Mars orbit the Sun at different speeds, so there's only a narrow window every 26 months when the planets align properly. Miss that window? You wait 2 years, no exceptions. The solar system doesn't care about your schedule. Third, you travel for 6 to 9 months through the vacuum of space. No stopping, no turning back, no drive-through. Just you, your crew, and whatever supplies you brought. Oh, and constant radiation exposure, because there's no atmosphere protecting you. Fourth, you land without crashing. Mars's thin atmosphere makes this tricky. Too fast and you burn up. Too slow and you smash into the ground. You have to slow down from 20,000 kilometers per hour to 0 in about 7 minutes. Engineers call it the 7 minutes of terror, because it is. And this has to work perfectly, because there's no rescue mission if something goes wrong 225 million kilometers from Earth. You're on your own. It's like throwing a dart from one moving car to another while blindfolded. Except the dart is a spacecraft, the cars are planets, and if you miss, everyone dies. But let's say you make it. Congratulations, you're on Mars. Now what?
Huh?
Welcome to the part where the dream meets reality. And reality is brutal. You can't go outside for fresh air. The atmosphere will kill you in seconds. So you need a spacesuit every single time you step outside. Want to take a walk? Suit up. Want to fix a solar panel? Suit up. Want to check the greenhouse? Suit up. There's no casual stroll on Mars. Every trip outside is a calculated risk. You can't order food. There are no delivery trucks, no grocery stores, no restaurants. You have to grow everything yourself in greenhouses with artificial light, recycled water, and soil that's toxic and has to be chemically treated before anything can grow in it. And if the crop fails, well, you better hope you brought backup seeds. You can't drink water from the ground. You have to extract it from Martian ice, purify it, and recycle every drop. The same water you drink today is the water you'll drink next year. And the year after that. Get used to it. You can't escape radiation. Mars has no magnetic field, so cosmic rays are constantly hitting you. The solution? Live underground, or pile Martian dirt on top of your habitat for shielding. Forget windows with a view. Your home is a bunker. You can't go to a doctor. If you get sick or injured, you better hope someone in your crew knows how to fix you. Appendicitis on Mars? That's a death sentence, unless your engineer also happens to be a surgeon. Which they're probably not, and you can't go home. Not for years, anyway. Once you're on Mars, you're stuck there until the planets align again for a return journey. That's a minimum 2-year commitment. No backing out, no changing your mind. This is the daily reality. No convenience, no backup plan, no margin for error. Every system has to work perfectly because one failure means everyone dies. It's the engineer triple-checking the oxygen generator, because if it fails, that's it. It's the botanist working 16-hour days because crop failure means starvation. It's the mission commander choosing which systems get priority power during a dust storm, knowing Earth is too far away to help. So here's the trillion-dollar question. Why would anyone spend this much money on such a dangerous project? Let's talk numbers. A single Starship launch costs around $10 million in fuel and operations. But that's just the rocket. You also need habitats, life support systems, solar panels, water extraction equipment, food production systems. Enough supplies to keep people alive for years. Developing Starship alone has already cost billions. The entire Mars program, from start to finish, could cost anywhere from $100 billion to $10 trillion, depending on how ambitious we get and how long it takes. For context, the Apollo program cost about $280 billion in today's dollars. The International Space Station cost roughly $150 billion. The Mars project could cost more than both combined, spread over decades. And here's the brutal truth. Failures are common. Rockets explode. Systems fail. One mistake means everyone dies. So why take the risk? Because the alternative might be worse. Earth faces real extinction risks. Asteroid impacts. Not the small ones that burn up in the atmosphere. The big ones that wipe out entire species. Supervolcano eruptions that trigger ice ages. Nuclear war. Pandemics. Climate change. Even artificial intelligence gone wrong. Any one of these could wipe out human civilization. And right now, we're all concentrated on one planet. One asteroid. One bad day. That's all it takes. Having a backup civilization on Mars is like insurance. It's spending a lot of money now so future humans don't lose everything later. It's not about escaping Earth. It's about making sure humans don't disappear. But there's another reason countries and companies invest in space. New technology. Every major space program has produced innovations that changed life on Earth. GPS came from satellites. Weather tracking came from space programs. Advanced materials, medical devices, communication systems, all came from trying to solve space problems. The technologies we developed to make Mars habitable, advanced life support, water recycling, renewable energy, autonomous construction, all have applications back on Earth. We're not just building a Mars colony. We're solving problems that make us better at sustainability everywhere. It's humanity's biggest research and development project ever conceived, and the byproducts benefit everyone. So, is this actually going to happen? Let's be honest, there's no city on Mars coming soon. No tourists, no families raising children under red skies. Not in the next decade. Probably not even in the next 2 decades. What is realistic? Robots first. Lots of them. Sending cargo missions to deliver supplies, test equipment, and build infrastructure before any humans arrive. Think of it like setting up base camp before climbers attempt Everest. You don't just show up at the summit and hope for the best. Small human missions next. Maybe a dozen astronauts living in habitats for a few years, conducting experiments and figuring out what works. They won't be building cities. They'll be testing life support systems, growing food in greenhouses, and trying not to die. Experiments, not colonies. The first Mars settlers are scientists and engineers. Not families, not tourists. Just people willing to risk everything for the experiment. A permanent, self-sustaining colony? That's a 50-year project minimum, maybe longer. Elon talks about 1 million people on Mars by 2050. Almost no one thinks that's realistic. A few thousand by 2060? Maybe. A thriving city by 2010? Possibly. But it's going to take longer, cost more, and face more setbacks than anyone wants to admit. The timeline is aspirational. The reality is messy. So why are we really doing this? Strip away the rockets and the numbers and the engineering. What's left? Humans explore. We've always explored. Crossing oceans, climbing mountains, reaching the poles. We go places that seem impossible. Because we're curious. Because we can't help ourselves. Humans are afraid of extinction. We've seen what happens when entire species disappear. Dinosaurs, mammoths. We don't want to be next. We want to survive. Not just for the next century, but for the next 1,000,000 years. And that requires spreading beyond Earth. Mars isn't about escaping our problems. Earth will always be our home. We're not abandoning it. We're making sure that if something catastrophic happens, humanity survives. It's about making sure humans don't disappear. It's the ultimate backup plan. The longest long-term investment. The biggest bet on our own future. So the next time you see Elon on stage talking about Mars, remember, this isn't just his dream. It's a dream that started with engineers and scientists decades before SpaceX existed. Robert Zubrin, in 1990. The Mars Society in 1998. People who believed long before it was cool. Elon showed up with the money and the rockets. But the vision? That was already there. Waiting. And now, piece by piece, it's becoming real. Starship test flights, orbital refueling demonstrations, NASA missions, international cooperation. It's happening. Slowly, expensively, dangerously. But it's happening. Will it work? Maybe. Maybe not. But the fact that we're trying says something important about who we are as a species. We're the ones who look at a frozen, radiation-blasted rock 225 million kilometers away and say, yeah, we can make that work. And honestly, that's pretty incredible. The Great Depression didn't end with a celebration. It ended with work. The Mars project won't end with a parade. It'll end with habitats, greenhouses, and tired astronauts standing on red soil, looking up at a sky that's not quite home, but close enough. It'll end with humanity taking its first real step off the cradle. Not because it's easy, but because we chose to. If anyone's confused, just remember, this is humanity's most expensive insurance policy. And we're all paying the premium. Please don't sue us for being optimistic about space.